Now that we've completed the project for the most part, in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about materials inside of Revit. So there are a couple of ways and things that we can do, especially with regard to this project. Now when you look at it, look at this house, it does seem a little bit dull, especially the walls, and I have this rendered view. By going to realistic, I can see how the material is gonna show up in the rendered view. So if you click on realistic view rather than hidden line or shaded, you can see how the material is gonna look like. So what we can do is one thing that we can do is we can change the type of wall that we have. Right now, if you select it, you see that the wall that we've selected is a basic wall, generic 8-inch masonry. What we can do is we can drop this down and change it to a different type of wall. Now this one here, it's an exterior brick on metal stud, and that kind of works for what we want to do really. So we can easily use this type of wall for this purpose. So what I can do is, now let's see what happens. I'm going to select it and I'm going to change the wall type. Now when I do it, you see the the plan form changes because the thickness of this wall is greater than the wall that we had previously. So to fix this, let's first see how it's gonna look like. Now right now I'm not seeing anything on this side because it looks white. Let's go to the plan view, and this is the wall that we have. So I can't see much detail, so I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna go here and make it fine rather than coarse. I'm gonna make it fine. Now I see the details of the wall. So as you can see, the brick veneer is on the inside where it should be on the outside of the building. So I can select it and click on the flip switch so that it switches the side. Now if I go to the 3D view again, you see we get the nice brick veneer on the outside of the building, and that's how we want to see this house. The only issue right now is that when I add this wall, the plan form is gonna get larger than what we want to have, right? So what we can do is we can actually go ahead and edit the type of wall. We don't need all of these layers in the wall, so what we can do is we can edit the type of the wall. So before we make any modifications, because it's a type level modification that we're trying to make, any change that we make here will affect all the walls that have this particular wall type. So to avoid that from happening, what we're going to do is, before we make any changes, we're going to duplicate this wall type. So let me duplicate it. I'm going to say exterior. I'm just going to delete all of that and say exterior brick. That's all I need. So I'm going to rename it and I'm going to say okay. So now I have a new type of wall in here, which is called exterior brick. Now I can go ahead and change things, and it won't change any of the other brick walls that I have of this particular type. So I'm going to go into edit. Now here it says structure, so I'm going to edit the structure and delete some of the layers that I have in this particular brick wall. So let's see what all the layers we have. Now we have thermal, air layer, membrane layer, substrate, core boundary, structure core boundary, membrane, finish 2. This is the inside, this is outside, so it says exterior side, interior side. Now I can delete some of these layers that I don't really need. For example, I can delete the metal stud, but since it's structure, I'm not going to do that. Instead I'm going to delete some of these layers. The substrate layer, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete the thermal air layer, and now let's see what the size of it is. It's 6 inches, 6 plus 3 is 9, about, well, let's say 10, and about 10ish, 11ish inches is what we're gonna have here. So I can also go ahead and change these. Now the finish layer, I can make it just 3 to make it simpler. So I have 6 plus 3 is 9.5 inches. Previously we had a 8 inch wall, so let's do the same. I'm gonna make this finish rather than 3 inches, I'm gonna make it, say, what if I do 2? That makes, well, let's make it 1.5. So 1.5 would probably work. So that makes it 7.5, 8. So it's gonna be the same size. Now once I'm done, I can just go this. And also another thing that we can see here is we can change the finishes. So we change the thickness here, we can change the finish here. If I wanted to, I can change the brick to something else here. We haven't really looked at the material browser yet, so I'm gonna talk about that in a bit. But what we can do is we can filter this, and I don't have any brick material here, but I can go here and find a brick material. If I type in brick, I have a couple of different brick materials that I can bring in if I wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm going to change the brick material. That's what we wanted, right? So I'm just going to leave it there, and that's it. We can do a preview as well to see how the wall is going to look like, and this is what it is. And I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to say OK here, and there we are. So we're back to the same size of wall that we had initially. Now, how do we change all of the walls to this particular type? There's an easy way to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just select everything, like all the walls that's here. Let's do, and when selecting also, there are 2 ways of selection. So if I select this way, it only selects this right selection. It only selects the one the elements that are completely enclosed. So when I do this, now it selects, but when I do this, it doesn't select the roof, because the roof is not completely selected by this window that I have. See? So if I wanted to select everything that my window touches, you do the left window. If you just want to select things that are enclosed by my selection window, you do the right selection. So there are a couple of walls that's missed here. So in any case, what I'm going to do is, rather than do the left select, right select, I'm going to do the left select, so everything gets selected like so. I have a couple of interior walls here, and I can change those later on, and I'm not going to be worried too much about those. So I'm going to select those, select everything, and I can go, once I select everything, I see a bunch of stuff here that appears. One is called the filter button. So I'm just going to use the filter button and filter out all my walls. So I'm going to uncheck the windows, floors, roofs and doors. I just need to select all the walls. I'm going to say OK. Now only the walls are being selected, but the interior walls are being selected as well, and that's okay. We can change those later on. There are just a few interior walls, so that's going to be okay. Now since I've selected all of those, I'm going to go here and I'm going to use our new wall, which is the exterior brick. So apply that, and there you go. No change to the overall building footprint, and I would need to go ahead and change the way that it appears in the floor plan. So let's go ahead and make those changes really quick. So I'm gonna flip these. Oops. I'm gonna flip this one as well. Oop. It's a bit of a, that one does not let me change anything. That's okay. Flip that, flip that. Flip that, flip this. I'm gonna flip this one as well. Let's do this one, flip it, flip it. While we're at it, I'm gonna also change the interior walls again to what it was previously, just cause I can. These are interior walls. So there you go. You know that the outside, when this sign is on the outside, that means that's correctly placed. So what I'm going to do is yeah, that's fine. So let's select our interior walls as well. So I'm gonna select my interior walls. I could do the filter and just do a complete selection, but there we go. And I'm gonna make these again, bring those back to my interior 5.5 partition. There you go, and that seems right. So let's go ahead, take a look at it. This one, for some reason, that was a stubborn wall that didn't want to change. So let's see. There you go. Change it. Alright. Now we have all of our external walls in a brick material. So that's that. For changing the material and changing or editing a type in order to create a new type of wall. So in the next video, let's take a look at some of the things that we can do with materials inside of Revit.